guys, I'm Brad and this is my basement machine shop. Today we're gonna get the grinder going, making sparks, running. I've gotten so many comments, people wanting to see the surface grinder in action, working, sparking, let's see some sparks, all that stuff. And believe me, there's no other person who wanted that more than me. So we got the VFD hooked up, we got the motor running, everything is in tip-top shape. What we're going to do today is we're going to make a little holder for, I have a diamond, a round diamond, but I need a little mount, a little holder for it. So we're going to turn one of those out of a chunk of steel that I have. We're going to dress the wheel, we're going to grind the saddle, and then we're going to prepare the chuck and grind the chuck and get that going. So sit back, enjoy it, and let's take a look and see what we got going on so far. So what we're doing is we're taking a little bit of diameter off of this surface grinder diamond dresser mount. And here we go. I'm sure I can work on that finish a little bit, but man, that is smooth. I don't know if you could see that. Woo! I'd say that was a success. Alright, so I let the spindle warm up for a little bit, and what I'm doing is I've taken some passes along the saddle here, and I realized it was climbing, so what I did was I raised it up a little bit, and I'm going to start at the high spot and kind of work my way back and get it that way. So we just finished up the grind and we got our saddle ground nice and smooth. We're going to put the magnetic chuck on now, and we're going to get that trammed in and then ready to grind that flat. I have the mag chuck all cleaned. I used the stone here and we removed all the burrs. I don't even know if there was any burrs. I don't really think there was any, but we just gave it a good stoning. It feels like silk. It's real smooth. One thing I did notice though on the stone is as I was using this and I was like, going in a circular motion, there's some grease and there's some dirt or oil that's built up on here, and it started to rub onto here, and it kind of like melted it, from the heat. It turned into like a gum-like substance. So I used some 409 to get rid of that, and it took it off. But it was actually, kind of thick. So we got this all smoothed out now, and we're gonna get it mounted up on the saddle now. Now the one thing you always hear with surface grinding is cleanliness, laboratory cleanliness, and it's true. you know, you're taking tenths of thousandths off with these grinders, and it's a super high precision operation that you're doing, and everything affects the grind. Heat, dust, dirt, even oil. The thickness of a coat of oil can affect how the grinder sits and settles in. So I am meticulously cleaning this surface. I stoned all the edges. One of the things that I did was I got my trusty stone here, and I just stoned right on an angle here, and it took some of the burrs off of here, made it feel a lot better. Just stoning the edge here because I'm going to mount an indicator and I'm going to tram this in. Alright, we put the last word, we're using the last word indicator because you could flip the direction, and I need it to press this way because you need the indicator facing this way, obviously, so you could see it. So we got it mounted up here, and just like a milling machine now, we're going to just tram it in, really. I have a glare there, but counterclockwise puts a load on it. Alright. See, here's a couple of tenths there. I don't know. I'm going to call that good. Give this the last tighten down. So one thing I will say about this, I was talking to my buddy Stan, and he was telling me that these chucks, they settle, they move around, you know, over the course of a couple of days, and obviously heat and cold and everything else is going to make it react. So I guess we're getting it as good as we can get it here. Alright, we got our dresser on. We got the spindle warming up for a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to take an initial dressing off the wheel. Thousandth at a time. Alright, that last one was a very fast dress to kind of give it a threaded texture. So it has some ridges and some space for the metal to build up a little bit and keeps the temperature down. Wearing this dust is very bad to breathe. Not going anywhere for a while? This is boring. Alright, it took a couple of passes, and you know, we're getting there. I took a couple of actually like Hagen cuts, and I have a little burn here, but I still, you know, I still have all these gouges here from when I got it that way. So I still have to grind down a lot more to get to that. The deepest gouge over here was 5.5 thousandths. Let's take a look, see how she looks. Wow, that feels nice. It feels like a piece of glass. Well, it's late on a Friday night, and I'm going to bed, and I'll pick this up tomorrow. Clean the machine, vacuum it up. There's a mess on it. Alright, well, see you tomorrow. Before we go any further with any grinding or anything like that, one of the things that I neglected to do was to move the grinder into its final resting place, right? So, as you can see, the shop is a pigsty. I got the crane out. There were some explicits flying, some language. So, I'm glad I didn't film any of that, because it was a pain. It really was a pain trying to move around in here with the crane. And so we got the grinder positioned where it's going to be. What we need to do now is we need to level the grinder. Now, I cut up some pieces of aluminum shim, and I just placed them underneath some of the legs, because the slab here in the basement is really bad. It slopes, and there's stress cracks and everything. So there are machines that need shims. There are machines that sit real nice. So I could see it's slanted right now. So what I did was I cut up the aluminum, put it in there. We got to get our machinist level and put it up on the chuck, and start getting this thing level. So you want to wipe this down, make sure there's nothing on it, and of course wipe your chuck. Get that set. Alright, I'm touching this with my finger so the camera will stay locked in on focus, but I zoomed in so you could see. I think that's pretty good for horizontal level. Alright, let's give it the old crank test. Move it off to the side, and we'll see how she is. Now, it looks like the bubble's bigger on this side, but it's just the angle of the camera. It's kind of shooting it at a steep angle, but again, that's real good. Alright, so I'm happy with that. I'm actually really happy. Okay, looking at it from this side, I've moved it, along the y-axis. That's pretty good as well. So, let's get back to grinding. What I did was I set up an indicator now, and I wanted to test to see how far the table is out across the 6-inch travel path. So I have some good findings actually. It doesn't look like it's out all that much at all. Now I was on 0 in the back. I got a half thousandths indicator going here. Brown and Sharp, best test. I'm going to bring this in as far as I can. And it looks to be just off the 0 mark. Maybe a tenth or two. Now that's just grinding normally. I watched Stan from Bar Z, Stan's video, and he had some ramping issues, and he went about it pretty cool way, like from one side, and he went around the back, and he worked his out. He got his, it's like dead flat. It doesn't move at all. But I'm looking at that, and I got 2/10 there. And again, I was hogging some material off this thing last night. So, that's kind of good news. See, it wants to come off the indicator. It wants to come off there. Looks like it goes to just under a half. But again, that could be backlash also in this indicator. They're so sensitive. and the bezel on this thing is almost impossible to turn, so you're always like fouling it up when you're trying to set it to 0. Yep, and there I am on 0 again. So we have a little bit of fluctuation. And a tip to all you guys out there with your indicators: get a black face dial. Okay, it shows up nice on camera, and you don't have to mess around with tinting it and filters and all that other stuff. Black dials. Alright, now we're going to do the side-to-side test. Just off the mark a little bit. But again, that might be the backlash, because now I'm moving it. And it's still off that 0 mark just a little bit. Alright, I am all the way, the table's moved all the way to the right. And let's call that 0, and we'll move it. Moving. And now I'm all the way to the left side. So the indicator is on the right side of the chuck, and it's still there. So I am going to call that perfect. Unless I could play around with the backlash here. Alright, that looks like it's set a little bit closer to 0. Yep, that looks good. So now I'm moving it, moving the table to the right. And that's pretty much dead on 0. I'm happy with that. I'm real happy with that. And again, I'm not even done putting a finish cut on this. So let me start doing that, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more tests. Alright, the grinding is pretty much done now. I've gotten rid of all the oops marks over here. There's one little tiny divot there that still is there. It's deep, and I'm not going to chase it. We have a really good finish on here. So the next thing that's going to be up is going to be the fence, the rear fence. I have to grind that in now. Just stone any burrs, because it does raise a burr when you come all the way to the edge. Yeah, it's more like it. Alright, I think we're looking pretty good with that. Looking good and feeling good. Alright, we're going to do a test now with the indicator. We're on 0, we got the 10ths indicator hooked up, and here we go. So it looks like it's swaying a little bit, a 10th from side to side. See, that's on 0. But see, when I move it, you know, you get the backlash, you remove the backlash out of the indicator. See, now I'm on 2/10. So this thing is, well, and it's going back towards 0. Now it's going a little under 0. So I don't know. I'm going to be happy with that and say, I mean, at the most it's fluctuating a 10th. Okay, and here I'll just back up to show you what I'm doing. Yeah, I go back and forth, and it's fluctuating only a 10th, and that's it. So now we're going to do the front and back test. Don't ask me how lucky I got with that, but it's on 0. Now I'm sticking my hand through this tripod, trying to turn it. And it doesn't look like it's moving at all. I keep hitting the camera, sorry. Yeah, That didn't move. I'll pan out. I don't know if that will focus, but we'll see. We're coming back. We got no movement. Nice. I'll call that good. Well, I went and I ground the fence. I literally put the fence on here. I was going to do it tomorrow, and I said, what the hell? And it took 30 seconds to do it. It was kind of uneventful. So I'm really just kind of checking to see how we did here. And I gotta say, you know, these indicators, they have a lot of backlash, and you get a lot of changing numbers. But I mean, it looks, you know, it's just dancing around 1,000. But it you know, now look, it climbs. And then it relocates itself. So I don't know. I think it's good. The thing that I was experiencing here was this wheel does not go all the way to the end. It left a little tiny, the tiniest little area. So what I did was, let me remove the indicator. What I did was I put a little guard down, piece of paper, and I'm just stoning it out there. It's a 1,000. This one little area right here. And then also what I'm doing is I'm just taking this edge right here because it leaves a little burr. So I'm just taking this off. So the parts, you know, you put a part against the fence, you don't want it to rest on any kind of a burr. Yeah, that feels good. Alright, now it's done. Now it's done for real. Well, there you have it, guys. We're all done. We got the chuck ground and the saddle ground, and it's dialed in and working real nice. I'm really looking forward to using this thing and you know, making some parts and doing some cool stuff with it. Got some cool videos coming up shortly, so stay tuned as always. And if you like the channel, subscribe, leave me some comments, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Until next time, thanks for watching.